Hello, did you miss me? Today I'm hauling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 34 books. Okay, so I'm going to show you each group of books by the place where I bought them. For example, the first one is going to be Amazon and then Barnes & Noble because I think those are the ones that we all know best, but I got some very good books for a very good price. So the first book that I want to show you is one that's been hyped with very good reasons recently. That rhyme. And I'm talking about The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is by the wonderful B.E. Schwab, and it was one of the books that I was anticipating the most this year, mainly because of the premise. Just hear me out. This is about a French girl that was born in the 1700s and she has lived for 300 years with a curse. Every person that she meets will forget her as soon as she leaves the room. And it's also a kind of a love story with the devil, and those two things totally sold me. Of the books that I already read, I'm gonna talk very briefly. I'm gonna do a very short synopsis and just going to tell you my general thoughts. I really enjoyed this one. I'm going to talk about this one in my October wrap-up, so look out for that one. The next book that I got in Amazon is Where the Crawdads Sing, and this was one of my favorite books of last year. The reason I'm buying a book that I already read is because I really enjoyed this one, and I normally buy books that I really think I'm going to enjoy or books that I already enjoyed. And another thing is that I always try to buy them secondhand, but this one was pretty much the same price secondhand as firsthand, so that's why I bought it new. And another book that I already read but that I'm hauling is The Nightingale. I was listening to this one in audiobook, and by 5% of it I already knew that I was going to love it, and that's why I stopped my audiobook and I ordered this one along with Where the Crawdads Sing. And I just realized I didn't tell you what the Crawdads Sing is about. This is about Kaya, a girl that grew up in a marsh, and she is slowly being abandoned and neglected by her family, and she turns out to be like the Tarzan of the marsh. Since I already reviewed this one, I'm gonna leave your link down below. The same goes for The Nightingale. This is turning out to be one of my favorite books of 2020, and this is about two girls during World War II, French girls, and they're very different from one another. For example, Vienne is a Mrs. Goody Goodpants. She does everything that she's supposed to do, and Isabel is a rebel, and amazingly both of them have an impact in World War II, and even though they aren't real women, they're inspired by actions of real women during World War II. This is going to be turned into a movie starring Dakota and Elle Fanning, two real-life sisters. As I just told you, it's very important to me to buy second-hand books because that has a big impact in your carbon footprint, and in Amazon you can also buy second-hand books. I got this book set of Percy Jackson for only $13. So 5 books for $13. That is also one of the main perks of buying second-hand books. I gotta mention that I'm hauling 34 books because these are all the books that I've bought since my last book haul, so that's almost all of the books I've bought this year. For some people this might be a lot of books, for some people this might not be anything at all, but I want to show you the other new books that I got. For example, I have a Spanish book club. If you speak Spanish and you want to join a virtual book club, I'm gonna leave the link below. And our January book pick was The Turn of the Screw, and I'm making a point of getting all of my classics in Spanish because I'm writing a book in Spanish, so at least I want to have those in Spanish. And the only place where I could get The Turn of the Screw in an edition that I liked in Spanish was Barnes & Noble, and this is my edition in Spanish. As you know, this is a book that has inspired tons of other stories. This is about a governess and two children that she has to take care of. You have to discover whether the nanny is crazy, whether the kids are evil, whether they're possessed, whether they're crazy, whether the house is haunted. And that's what has inspired so many stories. For example, I'm reading right now The Turn of the Key, that was inspired by The Turn of the Screw. And if you didn't know, The Haunting of Bly Manor is also inspired by this book. I bought that in Barnes & Noble. I got a discount in 2 books. And the first one that I got was The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This is a murder mystery mixed with science fiction, as the person that has to discover whoever killed Evelyn Hardcastle wakes up every day in a different body, and every day is repeated, and Evelyn Hardcastle is killed more than 7 times. And the other book that I got was My Sister the Serial Killer, and you know that I love sister dynamics and mysteries, so I had to get this one. And this is about 2 colored women, and one of them is very pretty and she has very good luck with men, and the other one is her sister, and the one that's pretty is Ayula. Okay, I'm hoping that's spelled right. Casually, all of her boyfriends end up being killed. Corede, I don't know if that's how you say it, doesn't know what to do. I mean, what can you do if your sister is a serial killer? Do you stop her? Do you turn her into the police? But the main problem starts when she starts falling for a doctor, but Ayula also likes that doctor. So Coredi has to decide whether she does what's right and betrays her sister, or whether she doesn't betray her sister but she lets her kill the man that she fancies. The next group of books I got from thriftbooks.com, and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
A few moments later.
15 books. And the thing about this site is they're second-hand books, and they tell you whether a book is acceptable, good, or in very good condition. And I'm very happy with the service there. I'm gonna show you each one with the category that was given to them, along with the price. The first one that I got is You Are a Badass. I don't know what you're going to think about me for reading these kind of books, but I don't care, and this is something that this book is teaching me. It's basically like a self-help book, a You Go Girl book, but I'm enjoying myself, and this is a book that I'm reading right now. And this one was in acceptable condition for $3.99. The next one is The Female of Species, and I already read this author. I didn't love her book. It was, as I read in the reviews, this is a feminist book, and you know that I love me a good feminist book. I got this in good condition for $5.09. The next one is The Girl Who Drank the Moon. This one is in good condition for $5.01. And this is a middle grade, and I'm making a point of reading more middle grades. And it's also a standalone, and it's about a small town in which they make sacrifices to the moon, baby sacrifices to the moon, and they think that they're doing that to keep an evil presence out of their town, and the moon doesn't know why they're doing this, so she only finds babies in the woods and she adopts them. And I guess the babies are allowed to drink stars, but not moon, and this girl does, and she gets some sort of special powers. I also got Me Before You. This one is in very good condition for $5.69 paperback, and I love the movie. And I don't think I would have gotten this book only because of the movie. There's something in this book that reminds me of one of the books that I want to read, and I don't want to tell you because it's a spoiler. And if you haven't seen the movie, this is about a girl, a very peculiar girl, that ends up taking care of a man, a very handsome and wealthy man, but he's paralyzed from the neck down, and he doesn't want to live. So yeah, it's a love story. Aww. And a beautiful one. I also got Fangirl for very good condition for $3.99, and I'm nervous because I'm seeing some booktubers that have read this recently and they didn't love it. But this is about a girl, Cass Cat, and she writes fan fiction, and she has a twin, but she's very socially awkward, and they're going to college, and she is very scared because she has depended on her twin all of her life. And she meets Levi, and I think it's a coming of age story with a little bit of love, and I really hope I like this one. The next one is A Monster Calls, good condition, $4.99. This is also a middle grade in which we follow a little boy, and his mom is dying of cancer, and I guess one way that he copes with that is drawing monsters. And I understand that this is a very wholesome and heartwarming book, and I love that sort of stories. I also got I'll Give You the Sun, and this is a YA following twins in 2 timelines. One of them is in the past when they were okay and they were best friends, and the other one is the present and something happened and they don't talk to each other, so you have to know what happened. I get the impression that this is also a very wholesome book, and that's what I need right now. That one's acceptable for $4.39. And the next one is very good for $5.89, and it is a list of cages, also a middle grade. And what I remember is that this follows two boys, and one of the boys ends up in foster care living with the other boy's family, and he's a boy in need of kindness and of a real friend. And I love stories where the most important thing is to be kind to one another. Okay, don't be scared. This book is The 13th Tale. I got it for very good condition without a dust jacket for $4.90. I wrote to customer service, not expecting anything, just saying that how come I get a book in very good condition without a dust jacket, and they told me they were going to send me another one. And this one's much better than the last one, so excellent service, and they even asked me for the other one back. So talking about the book, this is something that's going to remind you of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, because it's the dynamic of a reporter writing the story of a very famous person. This is turning out to be one of my favorite books of 2020. The next book is Sharp Objects. I was missing only one book to get all of the Gillian Flynn books, and I wanted to start to read them in order, and this was the first one that was published, so I had to get this one to start. There's already a show about this book, if I'm not mistaken. It's in Hulu or in HBO or on both. And in here we follow a reporter that was from a small town, and there's some murders going on there that connect her to her past, so she has to go back there and discover what the hell is up with these murders. I got that one for $3.99 in acceptable condition. The next one I got for good condition for $3.99, and it's The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I already saw the movie, but a lot of people love this book, and I just had to see for myself if I was going to love it. Hopefully I've forgotten most of the movie, but sadly I have very good memory for stuff that I don't want to remember. This is a story set in World War II. We follow children, and the narrator is an unexpected one, and you have to figure out who he is. The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, $3.99, acceptable. And this is the third book in the Millennium series, written by Stieg Larsson. There's also a movie for this one, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna read the first three. I'm not sure if I'm going to read the other three, because this was planned to be a 6-book saga. Sadly, Stieg Larsson died after publishing the third book, and someone else had to write the last 3 books, but I'm seeing some mixed reviews of that one. Most people didn't like the last 3 books, and I liked the story enough to want to know what happened. The first book is about a peculiar investigator and a reporter that have to solve a mystery. One of the wealthiest families in Sweden lost one of their members, but that girl is sending paintings to her uncle every year. So what the hell is going on? The next book I got for $4.61 in acceptable condition. This is The Long Walk by Stephen King, written as Richard Bachman. This is a pen name that he got to see if he was really a good writer or if people were just buying his book because he's Stephen King. And this is a book about a long walk, and that's the only thing that you see in this book. There's a contest in which 100 young boys have to walk until they die, literally. I remember there's a prize, like a crazy amount of money, but if you stop walking, they kill you. I think you get 3 warnings. For example, you have to walk at a certain speed and stuff like that. So yeah, it is very descriptive. I've heard that people that read this feel pain in their legs. The next one I got for $3.99 in good condition, and it is a middle grade by Neil Gaiman, The Graveyard Book. It's basically the book of the jungle, but in a graveyard. So there's this boy, I guess his parents got killed, and he escapes from the assassin, and he goes to the graveyard and gets adopted by the ghosts. It's supposed to be for children, and I'm hoping I really love this one. The last book that I bought from Thrift Books is 172 Hours on the Moon for $3.99 in acceptable condition. And I got this one because a reader that I trust said that this is the only book that has scared her, and that's something that I'm craving. Although October is over, this is a story that follows 3 teenagers that win a contest and they're sent to the moon, but creepy stuff is happening there and I'm dying to figure out what that is. I got the next 3 books at an actual thrift store. The first one is The Pale Horse by Agatha Christie, and I got this for a friend because she's collecting Agatha Christie's books and she doesn't have this one, so I asked her if she had it. I have no idea what it is. It's probably mystery, and that's the only thing that I know. There were some other Agatha Christie's books and I asked her which one I should get, and she told me to get Remember Death for myself. Again, the only thing that I know is that it is a mystery by Agatha Christie. The last one that I got there is The Handmaid's Tale. This is a show in Hulu, but I love the premise of this book. It is in a foreseeable future in the United States in which not all women can have babies, and those that do are used because of that. They are used for breeding, and they breed kids to rich families and they lose their identity. They even lose their name. For example, if my name is Monica, I'm gonna lose my name, and now Tony owns me. My name will not be Monica, it would be Tony's. I hope this one's a feminist read because I love those. I got the next 4 books in Book Depository. These are not second-hand books per se. These are books that were in a bookstore but got rejected because they had some detail. Obviously they are lower price. I don't remember the prices, but I'm always up for helping the environment and getting some cheap books. The first one is The Arrangement, and this is about a girl that needs some money, and to do so she gets a sugar daddy. It is a thriller and I'm dying to find out exactly what this is about. The next 3 books that I got are from this saga, but I don't remember the saga's name. But the first book is And I Darken. It is a series inspired by Vlad the Impaler if he was a woman, and Vlad the Impaler is the character that inspired Dracula. I have always found this character so interesting because he was so brutal, and I don't know what that says about me, but I had to get this series. The next book that I'm going to show you I got at Walmart, and it is I Love You Like No Other, and I had to get it because my pet name for Jorge is Other, and it's just the cutest picture book ever, and I just had to get it for my future children. So that's all for today. Thank you for coming and chat with me. The secret phrase today is, did you cut your hair? Don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you next week with a new video.